Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine, right here in the city of Memphis, in the county, state, in the state of Tennessee. Date is May the 18th, 2025. Time 2:01 p.m. First, I thank my family, my support for you. Continue to continue keep myself employed in Memphis, Tri-State area. Continue to further my education, my work out of line. Continue to pursue my social degrees. I'm being administrative country in my present time. Took a break and go to school. In the future, I'm gonna go back to school, earn my associate degree, well as other degrees. Now I'm gonna start my Facebook Live. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I'm right here in the city of Memphis, in the county, state, Tennessee. Date Sunday afternoon, May the 18th, 2025. Time 2:02 p.m. First, I thank my family, my support for you. Continue to support, continue keep myself employed in the Memphis Tri-State area. Continue to further my education, moral college line. Continue to pursue my social degrees. That being administrative, country, and marketing. The parent time took a break and go to school. In the future, I'm gonna go back to school. And I'm going to earn my associate degree, well as other degrees. Man, I was just going to start my video here at 2 o'clock. And I just happened to notice one little small detail. So I had to cut it, and quickly correct that small detail and start my video. So, but I'm thankful today, to be able to be alive and say thank you, Jesus, for blessing me to see another day, and to be able to pray and just say thank you, and continue to pray about the wars around the world that are being fought. Continue to pray about that, and continue to pray about these natural disasters. The news reports, we don't all live in the same location. Everybody don't live in the same location. I'm here in the United States of America, in the city of Memphis, in Shelby County. Shelby County is in the state of Tennessee, specifically West Tennessee. But, all across this nation, and around the world, the climate issues are causing a lot of changes in the weather. Where the weather is becoming more and more drastic. And it's been reported, as you know, a lot of storms, thunderstorms. It's been raining here in the city of Memphis. It's been raining. And it has slacked off a little bit now, as of right now, but still it's cloudy. But I know that in some parts of Missouri, the city of St. Louis, got hit with 5 tornadoes. Got hit with 5 tornadoes all at the same time, and the news coverage, they actually was able to film. I don't know how, but they got news coverage, and it was a really bad storm. 5 tornadoes hit St. Louis, Missouri, tore it up. And today, when you see St. Louis today, wow, it looked like 5 tornadoes hit. It really do. It looked bad. It looked really bad. And just think how before them 5 tornadoes, like I was, like we were talking about once before, like all the other storms that you done been through, you was able to, make it through that. This time, it was 5 tornadoes came through. Not just loss of property, but loss of life. So we have to continue to pray about these natural disasters, because that's exactly what they are, disasters that are happening naturally. And they are bad. If it ain't floods, it's tornadoes. If it ain't a tornado, You know, it's hurricanes. If it ain't a hurricane, and when we have wintertime, it's snow and ice, blizzards, and summertime it can get so hot. And then you have all these heat-related illnesses, and some places around the world, have drought. They can get so hot that we can have drought here as well in the United States of America. It gets so daggum hot where you don't have no precipitation. It ain't raining. And then the farmers trying to keep the crops from being destroyed by the heat. So, these are things that happen naturally, and they are disasters. So we continue to pray about these natural disasters. Now, been talking about having this year started talking about my idea and everything, trying to do something positive, entertainment and everything, and continue to make a reality, to make this ensemble a reality. And you got to give people a chance, because I'm doing things in my video, so you can't always, guess. Give people a chance to be informed, to hear, what I'm saying, to find out about. And it's a lot of people that graduated, like HBCUs and things of that nature. And then, all this Divine Nine and everything at these HBCU, as well as now in this day and time, you have the Divine Nine at other colleges and universities. And because it's a lot of people, like I said, have graduated 5, 10 or more years, who was like in the band, graduated with a degree in music, in performing arts. It also had a degree in the choir. For example, Fish Jubilee singers graduated with a degree in music in the performing arts department 5, 10 years ago. See, this is the reason why, like I said, when it comes to instruments and things, like, people have all these like bands and music groups and things, and just like the instrument, you always hear a trumpet, you always hear a trombone. Every now and then you might hear a saxophone, even a flute. And then you have some individuals, like, I take a clarinet and make a career, with a clarinet. But you don't hear the tuba, the euphonium, you don't hear the French horn, you don't hear, other horns, like the bassoon and the oboe. You don't even hear them, you hear piano playing on some song. On some song, you don't always hear the piano on a regular basis. You'll even hear an organ every now and then. You might hear an organ, And when it comes to percussion, of course you got the drum set, the drum kit in the back. Then every now and then you might hear somebody beating on like the congas or the bongo drums or the djembe. You might hear that, But and also like the xylophone, you might every night. It's very rare, very rare. And of course, you got your bass guitar, and when it comes to a guitar, you got the Fender guitars like the Telecaster and the Stratocaster. Then you got the Les Paul guitar and a P90 guitar. And of course you got the Gibson guitars as well as Epiphone, which is the same company, because Gibson bought Epiphone. So when it comes to an ES335, you got the Gibson and the Epiphone. It's the same guitar. And then you got the a smaller guitar, which Gibson and Epiphone make, which is the ES339. It's the same guitar, just small. And then of course you got B.B. King's guitar, the ES355, Lucille. Then Gibson turned around and made the ES345, and it's got that switch on there, stereo or mono. Then it got that that daggone thing, that knob on there, vibrating. Right. Got that switch on now. But that's what that's what the 345 do. It's got that switch on there, So like I said, that's what Gibson and Epiphone also make. A lot of things that Gibson make, Epiphone make the same thing. Then Epiphone got different like guitars and everything. Like the Sheraton. That's Epiphone Sheraton guitar, the Riviera guitar, and the Casino guitar, So, Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, 3.5. Oh, that's up the phone. Hold on. This thing not telling me something right. Be right back. Give me a split second. Ah. There we go. I put the wrong password in. My bad. By mistake, I put the wrong. I had to go back there and check what was my password. Right, right, right. The Gibson Epiphone 345, the Veritone. But yeah, I had put the wrong, your Wi-Fi. I put the wrong password. I was wondering why I was not logged in, but that what it was. I put the wrong password, so I had to go back and look at my password. I said, oh, put the wrong word in. Now, when it comes to instruments or whatever, sometimes people make it sound like people don't like this instrument or that instrument, but that can't be. Now, what I was looking at is concerto. Concerto. Now, they got the tuba concerto and very talented, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, very talented. Tuba concerto, reading music and everything. Now you know you got a bass tuba, but I mean it's a tuba. Going to a historically black college university, HBCU, being in a band, graduate with a degree in music. One of the best songwriting producers is the tuba player. You got a concerto with the euphonium. So reading music out, reading sheet music and everything. So, like I said, looking at these videos, concerto. Now this is concerto with the French horn. Like I say, some of my best, some of the best songwriting producers is the French horn. So Now, I've been going over these videos and so, but concerto for the bassoon. when you hear that concerto, the oboe. Now, wasn't trying to take long, but when you know you have YouTube video and everything, a lot of things about the stage and being a entertainer, performer, things like that. But you have these instruments, and because I'm a fan of a tuba, of a euphonium. That's the reason when I was sitting here listening, I want to keep on listening, you know what I'm saying? Like in my spare time when I'm not making my video, sometimes I do listen to concerto. I go back, I don't necessarily why. Sometimes I listen to the whole concerto, like Mozart's concerto, the tuba, the euphonium, the French horn. I listen to the different classical symphonies and things, and with those specific instruments like the tuba and the euphonium, the French horn, you know, and of course the bassoon. I like the bassoon and as well as the oboe, but I listen to it with the symphony, with like when Mozart wrote it in this area. You gotta, and it might be like an hour long. I might not sit there that long. I might, just sit there and, listen to it and be like, man, I like this. But the point is this. I didn't want nobody to say that when this ensemble is continuing to build that you're gonna kick somebody out. No, whatever other people done, don't make it sound like what they did was right. Because what I'm saying is that it was wrong. I like the tuba. I'm quite certain that a lot of other people like the tuba too, and the euphonium and the French horn. See, a lot of times if you ain't listen, you haven't actually sat there and listened to the instrument, you just be going by what somebody else said. You so accustomed to listening to the radio, and when you don't hear a tuba or a euphonium, or you don't hear a French horn, now, don't make it sound like how you know somebody didn't. Well, look, if you got to put all them other instruments and you can't even distinguish a tuba from, or a euphonium on a song, hey, or the French horn, you can't distinguish the French horn, hey, you weren't trying to really just highlight that instrument in the first place. And then talking about the bassoon and the oboe. Now, when I listen to that bassoon and oboe, you know what? Being that the way it sounds, like people make movies and things. Do it sound for me? It may, like the bassoon. It may sound for me. You know what I'm saying? It might not be like on the radio, but like let's just say you watching a movie and then you hear some music on the movie. Now that bassoon and even that oboe, it might sound familiar. It might, because you hear a lot of time when you watch a movie. Sometimes they do put symphony like music in the movie, like at the beginning of the movie or maybe at the end of the movie. So it might you might be like, oh, that what that was. That sound for me. That's what I'm saying. When you hear that bassoon, you be like, you know what? I was watching a movie somewhere. That kind of sound for me. And the same thing with the oboe. You might be like, I could have sworn that. That sound kind of for me. That's what it might like. Even the French horn, you might be like, that French horn. And maybe on one of these movies, I might have heard that instrument. Because it sounds familiar. But but the point I'm making is this: I don't want nobody to be thinking you finna tell the members of the ensemble, no, you gonna kick no, and then gonna sit up in talking about some trombone and a trumpet, man. Look, if anybody gonna get kicked out, is you gonna get kicked out, It's straight to the point. You gonna get kicked out. Simple as that. Cause like I said, man, the best songwriting producers is the oboe player and the bassoon player. I'm talking about songwriting producer. Cause once you become, in at the HBCU, the Historical Black College University, man, in the performing arts department, graduated with a bachelor's degree in music. Do you honestly think I'm finna sit here and listen? No, I'm telling you right now. You ain't got nothing to say to me. Period. And I guarantee you, gonna be other people gonna be saying the same thing. They're gonna be like, man, get up out of here. If anybody get kicked out, it's gonna be you. Cause see, like I'm gonna be continue to say, look, songwriting and producing. We got a bachelor's degree. You ain't finna sit up here and let nobody kick you out. You know what I'm saying? No. And then I'm gonna be like, look, songwriting and producing, man, you gotta go. You don't come over here with that nonsense, man. Then a lot of the women, they, already know. I've been calling to tell you, man, all these women that's in the band, some of the women already graduated 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It don't make no difference. Just think about it. You got a degree. Don't make it sound like just because you graduated 10 years ago, but still, you got that education. You got that education. You might not even be working in that particular field. Well, that's what, it's all kind of opportunities. That what the ensemble mean. It's an opportunity. And just because you graduated 10 years ago, that don't mean that you're not welcome. That don't mean that you don't have a place. You know what I'm saying? It's always an opportunity. It's always opportunity. Because first of all, I value education. I'm just one of those people just, I respect education and I value education. So your input is needed and wanted. You don't have to walk away and turn back. I don't want you to walk away and turn back. That's the reason why it's more than one ensemble. It's not no one, you know what I'm saying? Because you got so many people that graduate, why would it be one ensemble? That's the whole point. But you have to make it clear at the very beginning. Say, look, man, all this, just because somebody in the jazz band, man, and you see somebody with a trumpet and they make a name for themselves, but just look around. Look at what they doing, you don't even see, so don't make it sound like just because what they do, that's what, no, absolutely not. And when it comes to the women, I'm making it perfectly clear from the very beginning. This is where you belong. You belong in this ensemble. You in the band, just like right now. You see the Historical Black College University band. You see all them women. And you gonna sit up there and tell me that when you graduate school with a bachelor's degree, well, this is what, what I'm saying. No, it's not like that. And then I'm gonna have to say this, as a man. Look, it ain't nothing wrong with a man liking women. It ain't nothing wrong with women liking a man. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not a homosexual. I'm not gay. First of all, I'm gonna have to make that perfectly clear at the very beginning. I like women. Now, me, as well as some of the other men, I'm not married. I ain't got no wife. I'm not married. So, that's why, we have to make things clear at the very beginning. It's not like that, man. Now, I don't want no woman to be sitting around, thinking like sexual assault, rape, sexual harassment, inappropriate behavior and conduct, as well as women, because they're sorority and fraternity. I'm telling you now, look, influencing each other and inappropriate behavior and conduct. Things, next thing you know, you hear some talking about some sexual assault, or not just sexual assault, but actual assault, like hazing or something. Look, you can't do that. You can't do that. Cause I ain't got no part, no hazing. I ain't got no part in that. Absolutely not. I ain't had nothing to do with it. They talking about some sexual assault, sexual harassment, sex trafficking. Throw that in there, sex trafficking, and anything else. Prostitution. or you know, I ain't had nothing to do with it, man. Because I live my everyday life now. And I'm not involved in none of that now. And then you can't just all of a sudden, and all kind of allegations start coming up now. So at the very beginning, you know, it's a line that you don't cross. Include me. You know, include me. I know it'd be like sexual harassment can, I mean, it's, you know, inappropriate behavior and conduct. It can, that borderline, you might not have meant this or you might have meant that, you know, but, so, you know, but like I said, you know, the atmosphere, it's not like you're not welcome. This is where you belong. But, and I know that in order for you to belong, you got to make sure you have this understood, that you can't be all this sexual harassment, sexual assault, or physical assault where women are actually fighting with each other. And so, or some man got to fighting with another man. Okay, look, inappropriate behavior and inappropriate conduct. But like I said, when it comes to the women, though, I'm not a homosexual. I'm just gonna have to, you know, I don't want no woman to think that I don't like women, because I do. You know, I like women. You know, so, you know, you have to, you know, we have to make sure we get this clear, man. But that don't mean that just because, you know, a man or a woman, you know, like I'm gonna say something else too about being friends, because everybody got a mom and a dad, and this is another thing I want to get clear. I don't have nothing against no man, no woman. It's just like when you go to the historical black college and university, your mom and dad, they proud of you. They work very hard. When they raised you, they had to go to work and everything, and you know, they son and they daughter, that's their son and daughter. You know what I'm saying? That's their son and daughter. And then they had possibly had other kids. That's somebody's sister or brother. You know? I really did want to say this, because that's one of the reasons why I do the things I do. I don't like people being a negative influence on me as well as other people. You know, I'm an aspiring Catholic. You know, I aspire to be a Catholic. I ain't joined the Catholic Church, but I have aspirations to be a Catholic. I want to educate and inform myself first. Because see, I don't never want nobody, no Protestant, to never walk up on me and think I'm stupid, and think I'm illiterate, or think I don't know about this lie you've been telling. I know. That's what I want to make sure I know. And I want to stand with the Catholic Church. I want to stand with the men and the women when they were being martyred in the first century. I want to say that was wrong, man. Just like slavery. I want to stand with the men and the women and the children when they talking about bringing our ancestors over here to be a slave. I'm going to stand with my ancestors and say, man, that was wrong. I'm saying it today. It's wrong. That's the reason why it was wrong. So like I said, when it comes to a man or a woman and all this, what they call it, LG, you know, lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, and gender transsexual. Look, a lot of men and women got a mom and dad. That don't mean I'm not a friend with the mother and father for this reason. Just like you talk about the Divine Nine, and you talk about Alpha Phi Alpha, when they first got started way back in the early 1900s. There's a lot of men and women. There's a lot of men. First of all, I know it's a fraternity. Then you got Alpha Kappa Alpha. So when you got the alphas, Alpha Phi Alpha and Alpha Kappa Alpha, there's a lot of men and women ever since the early 1900s have started a family. And then their son and daughter went to a historical black college because we were still not being allowed to go to colleges and universities except historically black colleges and universities up until James Meredith integrated the University of Mississippi. So it took all it. Man down there died, got killed, just to go to school. You know. But it's a lot of men and women, you know, the alphas, and then the deltas, the women deltas, because the AKs, they, you know, but the deltas, and then you got Kappa, Alpha Phi, the newts. It's a lot of men. A lot of men. Years. We talking about years, early 1900s. Look how many years and past, how many men have actually been a Kappa, who been a newt and got married and had children of their own. And now they are great grandparent, you know. And then you got the Omegas. Same thing. The men, the fraternity. And then you got Phi Beta Sigma. Same thing. Then they started Zeta, Phi Beta. There's a lot of men and women. And that was the early 1900s. So you got men and women who've been grandmother and grandfather, who started out as a husband and wife, or girlfriend, boyfriend, started girlfriend, boy, then got married. Some may got divorced, whatever. But still, they got children. They got children. Then their children did the same thing. Went to a historical black college university, graduated, joined the sorority fraternity. There's a lot of people, man. See, that's what I'm saying. You know, and then Sigma Gamma Rho. And the last was the Iotas in the 60s, doing all that civil rights stuff. You know? And a lot of them men, the founders, I think the Iotas might be one man. I think some of the founders have passed away. But then they got children. And then their children grow up. Because some of the fraternities, you know, they don't have only Phi Beta Sigma actually has a sister organization. So if a man got a daughter, his daughter gonna end up, you know, he might have a son who might join the same fraternity. But if you got a daughter, your daughter probably end up being a Zeta or Sigma or Alpha or a Delta. And so, you know, that's what I'm saying. You know, you got a mother and father, and you talking about gay and lesbian. You know what I'm saying? What make you think I'm not friends with the mother and father? And then this their son or daughter. That's what I'm saying. See, the Catholic Church ain't never told nobody to go around beating nobody and trying to kill nobody, talking about they gay or lesbian. No, nobody told you to do that. Nobody told you to do that. See, that's what I was saying about a negative influence. You sit up here talking about this Gnostic nonsense, talking about some demiurge, and then you going to sit up and tell a man that's heterosexual that it ain't nothing wrong with being gay and, you know, going have anal sex. And then telling a woman the same dumb stuff. To have anal sex with a man, then you lying. That's the point I was making. You be lying to people. You lie to people. And then got the nerve to try to be violent. No, you don't be violent. So like I said, that's the reason why I do the things I do. I don't put up that trying to be a negative influence. I go to the library myself. I already know it ain't number 4 religion, so whatever you trying to say, I'm gonna dig into the root of it, and I'm gonna find out about it, like I'm doing now. You ain't talking about nothing. I've been constantly telling you over and over again, you ain't doing my line and trying to be violent. You ain't doing my line and going around being violent, stupid. Because you ain't nobody. It's really ignorant on your part to actually sit around and go around trying to have European people have been violent with each other. And, you know, just being violent. That's all. You ain't telling the truth about nothing. All you do is go around being violent. You No. So like I said, man, a man talking about gay. Well, first of all, I'm not a homosexual. I'm not gay. I'm not bisexual. Nothing like. I like women. You know. But that don't mean I'm not friend. No, this if a man talking about he gay or whatever, man, it ain't gonna stop us from being friends. Cause you ain't gonna make no pass at me, and I'm not in the closet. That's just being being realistic. You know, these things you have to get straightened out at the beginning. But man, we friends, man. You my partner. You my partner just like anybody else. Cause if I say I like women, man, I'm gonna have to say this. If I say I like women, they just say this man got a sister. They just say this brother here talking about he gay. But what if he got a sister? I'm talking about bad, so I'm talking about she bad as a mother. Fine as a song though. Now here it is, you talking about you can't, you not even cool, you not even friend with her brother. Talking about he gay. He a homosexual. Man, what make you think that woman gonna like you, man? She ain't gonna have no liking for you, man. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm not gay. So I don't have no reason to be, no complex about me. I'm not gay. I'm not homosexual, man. I'm not trying to be, you know what I'm saying? But I don't like that whole thing about, trying to shun nobody or trying to, no, man, it's not like that. And that's not right. We have to always say, man, that's wrong. You welcome. You know what I'm saying? You welcome. You don't have to have it. No, if some individual insecure, there's some, you know what I'm saying. But like I say, I'm secure in me. And I'm just saying, man, if I like a woman, man, just so happen she might have a cousin or a brother. You know what I'm saying? And then here I am sitting up here with all this old stuff here, man. No, and then man, it could be a good friend. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't. No, I don't. And because ain't nobody told you nothing like that. That's right anyway. That's not what you're supposed to say to another person anyway. But like I said, I like women, so I don't want no woman to think like somebody, her brother is gay. You can never have, be straight with that woman because she gonna always see that, you know what I'm saying? It's always something that you doing against her and her family, including her mother and father, And I'm friends with her mother and father, irregardless, but still, I'm friends with her mother and father. That's the way you supposed to see it. Because like I said, when you come to the Divine Nine, so many men and women, all the way from the early 1900s, that's what I'm trying to get you to see. All the way from the early 1900s, all the way up to that, that's a lot of time. There's a lot of men who've been alpha, phi alpha. A lot. And had children, now they grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Some of them early members, founders, they passed away, but they still, they children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-grandchildren. That's the reason, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's, you know what I'm saying? Because this real. This ain't no fantasy land or something. Talking about under something. No, this reality. But like I said, you have to give people a chance to be informed, and they have to be able to understand that at this, none of that foolishness. This is something real. There's a lot of men and women got educated. I'm still working toward getting my degree in business and everything. But we got men and women who play an instrument. Then you got the men and women who graduated in the choir. They already know this microphone when it comes to singing, vocals. That's their spot. They handle that. They got a degree in music. But see, I don't want you to do the same thing. It be influenced in the wrong way. Talking about a tuba and a euphonium. Listen to concerto. a French horn, you know, the bassoon. Do you see how that bassoon sound? Every I was sitting there, I'm like, man, I like that bassoon, and I like that oboe. I know I do. You can't be in, let other people think for you like that, not like that. No. But when it comes to Fish Jubilee singing, they already know, man. When I make my video, see, it was time in the past. Some people, they know I made a video, then whether you paid attention or not. But look where you at today. See, I had intention to do things. And see, from this point on, it's going to come a day where it's going to be out and you're going to actually see. And when I leave my video, just like today, talking about this concerto, you're going to see the impact that it had. It was the right thing to do, to make sure that people don't be sitting around letting other people listen to it yourself. Listen to that too. I like the too. I like the euphonium. When I was sitting there listening to the concerto, when I was hearing it, I'm like, man, I like that. I like that instrument, that euphonium. Man, I like that. That's what I'm saying. And then I would listen to the French horn. I'm like, man, I like that. I like that French horn, man. Then that's the kind of instrument you can put with other instruments. It's not too low, and it's not too high. Cause I would listen to the string instruments and all the others, and I was just hearing that French horn blowing. I'm like, man, that sounds so good, man. That's a good sounding instrument. So but like I said, the important thing is when you got individuals who went to school, just like historical Black College University, and got a degree in music, whether it be an instrument or vocals. Because when it comes to songwriting and producing, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to tell you that you can't be telling me that you're trying to kick the bassoon player out, and you're trying to kick the oboe player out, and trying to kick the tuba player out, and the euphonium player out. Talking about you trying to kick the French horn out, talking about some trombone and trumpet. Man, look, you're going to get kicked out. You're going to get kicked out. That's all it is too. Because my best songwriter, one of the best songwriters is the tuba player and the euphonium player. And the French horn player and the bassoon player and the oboe player. Shoot, man. Songwriting and producing is important. You can't just be coming over here talking about you're going to kick. No, no, you're not. Just like I'm telling the women. No, what? Man, look. The women don't have to worry about it. They in this. They going to kick you out. You know what I'm saying? They going to kick you out. Because you ain't finna tell them this where they belong, man. You know what I'm saying? This where they belong. Some of the best songwriting producers is the women. Got a bachelor's degree. Got a bachelor's degree when she graduated. Got a bachelor's degree. What make you think you don't? And then the same thing, the vocals. The Fish Jubilee singers, they got a Grammy Award winning singer. They've been singing ever since slavery, the end of slavery. The Fish Jubilee singer, since the first students at Fish University were some slaves, former slaves. And all these other historic Black College Universities, a lot of them didn't start until after Civil War. It's only a handful that you can say was actually operating before the end of the Civil War. And it wasn't like no students were coming all over. It was just a lot of local people. You didn't start all that traveling until after the Civil War, because the Ku Klux Klan, they a kid. Hell, the federal troops weren't even safe with the Ku Klux Klan. The federal troops after the Civil War weren't even safe. They were being terrorized by the Ku Klux Klan. So you talking about you going somewhere, being black, you ain't going nowhere. You get killed by the Ku Klux Klan. But like I said, the women, they know this theirs. And they ain't got to be sitting around putting up with no foolishness. Not like that. Talking about they ain't welcome. I mean, no, man. No, it's not like that. There's a lot of women that's in the band and who was in the band, they ain't graduated. Just like there's a lot of women and men in the choir, and you figure like, how this gonna work? Well, if I hadn't said anything, you were thinking that I had to tell the instruments. I was like, look, it was never my intent to be the singer. It was always my intent to do exactly what I done, to put somebody just like you with a bachelor's degree, the 5th Jubilee singer, as well as all these other women and men who in the choir. See, this is what it means when you have a bachelor's degree. See, opportunity. It's not just the opportunity on the stage, but it's opportunities off the stage. There's a lot of men and women already graduated 5 years ago, 10 years ago, was in the choir. And you like, well, how all these women and men? Well, that's a common sense thing. None of all those men and women who graduate ain't finna sit up on the stage. But a lot of men and women, they really not trying to be, but still, that don't stop you from performing. It don't stop you from performing. Because when it comes to gospel music, like I said, a lot of men and women, white men and women who were singing gospel in the 40s and the 50s, in the 60s, they don't even sing gospel no more. They stopped singing gospel because I know the reason why. Because they let this daggone Gnostic nonsense be an influence on them, and that's what I wasn't going to have. See, this one thing this ensemble ain't going to do. You're not going to walk away. No, you're not going to turn from gospel. You're going to turn toward gospel. We're going to sing gospel. We sing gospel. We're not ignorant. We're not ignorant, man. That's the reason why I stand for what I stand for. Because first of all, I'm not ignorant. Anytime somebody do something like that, you just ignorant. We're going to sing gospel. I praise Jesus' name. I sing in the name of Jesus. See? No. We're not ignorant like that. No. Absolutely not. We sing gospel here. This on something we sing gospel. See, the men and women that got an instrument, hey, they sing gospel. I don't want no man to think that, hey, like I'm a big fan of Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrer. I'm a big fan. I was raised growing up listening to, on Sunday morning, my mom and dad played Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrer, as well as, other artists and stuff, like James Cleveland, in the caravan, all that. Now me, I don't have one of them James Cleveland type voices, but I'm quite certain that many men had that type of, had that voice, just like Barry White. There's a lot of men who was in the choir who had that, that like Barry White voice, like Teddy Pendergrass voice, you know what I'm saying? Like, and there's a lot of men probably, sing like Prince Rogers Nelson, you know what I'm saying? Can hit them notes or, name anybody, Can hit them like Michael Jackson, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of men. So, and I don't mean a lot of women. Look, Aretha Franklin, look, I know there's a lot of women been in the choir, can hit them notes. You'll swear up and down, Minnie Ripton passed away. You'll swear up and down, Minnie Ripton might have passed away, but hey, there's some women, they can hit that note, man. They can break some glass. I'm telling you. I know some. They walking around right now, already graduated. I'm telling you. You put one of them champagne glasses up there, I'm telling you, I know a couple of these women that can hit a note And I guarantee you they'll break their glass, man. But hey, this is where they belong, man. This is what I'm saying. I don't want you to never ever turn your back and walk away. Don't worry about because I said blues. I intentionally did, like I told you. I intentionally said that. You got a bachelor's degree. Folk music, blues. I intentionally did that. You got a bachelor's degree. It ain't nothing we can't deal with. We, you know what I'm saying? We gonna get all these things straightened out. In all the subgenre of blues, where it all came from, jazz, then from soul music. Sam Cooke invented soul music, and what disco and what else? Funk music with the bass guitar. Okay, R&B, Jackie Wilson. I mean, you telling me about some singing. You ever sit down and listen to some Jackie Wilson music? Man, you talking about a song gun can sing now. That man can sing. Now I guarantee you, in the choir, I know. Here's some guys, man, you ain't never seen before. And I guarantee you, when they pick that microphone up, you be like, damn, that's Jackie Wilson. You been there turned around, walked around, and you'll hear something, you be like, damn, I thought Jackie Wilson was dead. Hey, that's the reason why I did what I did, man. See, it ain't nothing that we can't work out. It ain't nothing we can't work out. That's the reason why I said the man and the woman. Of course, you know, the biggest selling, people love it when you got a man and a woman singing. And you know, it ain't nothing we can't work out. It ain't nothing can't be worked out. But that's the first thing we got to do. We have to make sure we don't, we get all these things understood at the very beginning. Sexual harassment, sexual assault, inappropriate behavior and conduct, all that. But there ain't nothing wrong with a man liking a woman. Ain't nothing wrong with a woman liking a man. As well as all that other stuff. Because I'm friends with other people, mama and dad and everything. They friends with me. So I ain't going around doing, trying to shun nobody. Man, you welcome here. Play an instrument or whatever. And talking about a woman like women or a man like man. Hey, look, we ain't kicking, we ain't shutting the door on nobody. We just want to make sure we don't, all that reality type stuff. That's inappropriate behavior, inappropriate conduct. And it's really not right to be violent with other people for no reason. Because there ain't no reason to be violent with nobody. No. But we're going to be successful. And I'm going to tell you this. The reason why this ensemble going to be successful is because the people who didn't get kicked out, the tuba player, the euphonium player, the French horn, and then the women. The reason why the ensemble is successful, that's the reason why. The Fifth Jubilee singers, as well as all the other men and women in the choir who graduated with a degree in music. See, the reason why this ensemble is successful and being prosperous and just doing well is because of the people in the ensemble. See, it means something to them, just like it means something to me. That's why I say, this is not no dream. This is not just on you. No, this is the very beginning. This is just the very beginning. And you have to make sure these things get cleared up at the very beginning. Because other people, see, when I did things this way, see, can't nobody come behind me. No, you can't come behind me and try to, no. All you got to do is look and see. No, you can't do that. Do you see the Fifth Jubilee singers anywhere? No. Not like that. That number of people? No. That's the reason why I do the things I do. I make sure. No, it's going to be a success. There ain't no failing here. I'm not a failure. But see, it's all about doing what's right. Because, see, the people that be prosperous and successful is the people that do what's right. When you do what's right, you're gonna always be prosperous. You're gonna always be successful. You're gonna always be on top. The people that do wrong, they always end up in the bottom. You think you can cheat your way. You can take the shortcut. It don't work, man. You think you can steal and cheat and rob. You don't never win that way. You always be the loser. You always be the loser. That's the reason why people tell you get a job instead of trying to sell drugs. Because you always be the loser. It's always you are a man that got an honest job. You can be cutting grass, sacking groceries. But I tell you this, you ain't got to worry about no police or nobody else. Because you're doing an honest day's work for an honest day pay. You'll always be the winner. And you can always move up. You can take that one job and move up at the same place, or you can move somewhere else, to another company. You can use that as a reference. You can use that job, that work history, as a reference for another job. Then that other job will look at your record and be like, oh man, you was a grocery sack. Oh, you was on time and you held that job for a year. Oh well, okay, you the type of person we looking for. Now you done got another job, and because of that job, you was sacking groceries. See, you always be a winner. That's the same thing, just doing what's right. Ain't nobody doing nothing wrong. I ain't doing nothing wrong. Just opportunity. Taking advantage of the opportunity and making something real out of this. It's an opportunity. One opportunity leads to another opportunity. So do what's right. I know when I started my video day, I forgot to change my on my tablet. I had to get up and I put the wrong password. I forgot my password. I'm like, for my Wi-Fi and everything. I'm like, put the wrong password. What is that password? Oh, got that straight now. I think I forgot to put my earrings in today. I forgot. But a few more minutes, I'm gonna end the day. It'll be about 3 hours. But I'm glad I did what I did today because I want to leave my video and I don't want to have no issues like that. No. Because going in the right direction. But man, it's gonna come a day. It's gonna be reality, and we ain't gonna have that type of nonsense. Cause that's all it is, some nonsense. You ain't making no sense. And ain't nobody gonna be listening to nothing you saying. That's what I'm making sure that you don't have nobody paying no attention to you. Cause everybody is welcome. You know what I'm saying? And education is important. That's the reason why I do the things I do. Because education is important. I'm gonna go back and get my degree. You know what I seen? I seen some people went back to school and got their degree. I seen this woman. She went back to school. It was at one of the historical black college universities. She was like over 60 years old, but she went back to school and earned her degree. And then I seen another story on Facebook. Both of these stories, I seen them on Facebook. They report things all the time, and I seen it. I just happened to be on Facebook, and I seen this story of this man. He had went back to school. I'm talking about this man was over 70. He was over 70. Went back to a historical black college and university and earned his degree. He one of the graduates this year. Both of them, the man and the woman, they both graduated from a historical black college and university. The woman, she was like over. They both was elderly. They was over 70. But they went back to school, man. So I when you hear me say I'm going back to school, hey, I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna earn my associate's degree in business. I'm going back to school. I'm definitely gonna go back. Cause of course, Lamar College ain't that far over there on in South Memphis on Walker. But it ain't that far. Sure, it ain't that far. And then the University of Memphis not that far either. It ain't that far. But I don't think I ain't gonna go to school now because I want to actually go to school and take classes and learn and earn my degree. So, what time is it? Yeah. I know when I started my video that we were talking about natural disasters and everything. A few more minutes and then I'm going to end it. But, I mean, that's serious, man. I know we all watch the local news and world news. And I saw what happened in St. Louis, Missouri, man. I'm like, wow. Because think about it. Last week, they had survived a lot of like flooding and stuff like that. Then look what happened. 5 tornadoes hit St. Louis, Missouri. And they were showing, I was shocked that the news media was able to actually get video footage with the devastating, I'm talking about houses being torn up in front of, I'm like, man, how in the world you was able to even be in that vicinity with 5 tornadoes, and I'm sitting there looking at bricks breaking off the house. You know what I'm saying? The whole roof. I'm telling you, we sitting there talking about, you see in the video, the whole daggone roof then got ripped off the top of the house and bricks flying from the house. And then you got all this debris in the air. Do you think you should be walking around? Don't you think some debris could hit you and kill you? In a tornado, the debris could kill you. A whole daggone roof is flying in the air. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The daggone roof got blown off. It got ripped up off the house. The whole roof. I just happened to see some of the... Man, it showed... I'm like, man, how did you actually still be in that area with the wind blowing like that and actually get video footage without getting killed yourself? Man, a whole roof got ripped up off and then it's flying, and then think about it, it's in the air. The roof of this house is flying in the air as well as all this other debris. Man, we have to pray. We have to pray. We have to pray. Because you see, all it is climate change. The change in the climate, and it's making natural disasters be worse than what they would be. Making it worse. And then they happen so often. They happen more often because think about the weather still changing. We having cold air and hot air the same day. The same day. I'm quite certain I'm not the only person who, sometimes during the weekday I work. But then nighttime I come back, in the evening I come back to the house. But I mean, when you be in the house, just like the weekend, this weekend been one of the weekends where you've been having this up and down weather. You probably having to do this, turn heat and air on the same day. Having to turn, actually being at your own house the same day. Having to go from the air to the heat the same day. Not like next week we had to turn the heat on, or this week we had to turn. No, the same day. Having to go from the heat to air. Then from air to heat the same day. But I mean, these natural disasters, floods, and then we talking about tornadoes. Wow. Man. And then when hurricane season come, the fall, then hurricanes. Then we be right back with the blizzards and the wintertime weather. Man, because we all don't live in the same area. So for some people who live like the northeast or northwest or north central, midwest, the weather be different than it is down here. So I just encourage everybody to pray. Continue to pray. Pray. And I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. And I'm going to come back on my next video. I ain't forgot prehistoric religion. I ain't forgot. The Divine Nine, oh yeah. Gonna donate some books on prehistoric religion to my library. And I'm gonna be very grateful and thankful and appreciative. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna always be bragging about that book. I'm gonna always brag about it. I'm gonna always brag about that book on prehistoric religion and the hat and the t-shirt, you know. Yeah, I am in a t-shirt. And so I'm always be thankful, always grateful and appreciative, you know. And I'm gonna come back on my next video and we're gonna pick right back up, because prehistoric religion, you know, it's a good thing. And I'm serious, man, because when I thought about it, man, to think how people treat other people, you know, and I'm like, it's not like I've been saying all the time, it's fake polytheism and false polytheism. It's not based on anything that's true. Nothing that these Indo-Europeans doing is true. Because I was thinking about this. We were talking about it. I remember that time when we were talking about atheists. And when we were talking about, I want you to think about the same thing. When we was talking about prehistoric religion, and even all the scientists, they saying that, hey man, when it comes to us as human beings, when it comes to prehistoric, because we don't have no records, but we can say that the religion of the people on this planet, on this earth, was polytheistic. Everybody, any and everybody on this earth, on this planet, was a polytheist. Was and is a polytheist. You know what I'm saying? And that's what caught my attention. How sometimes you be walking around, and then I had thought about it. I'm like, we were talking about atheists. I'm like, what? There's no basis for atheists. For us as human beings, there's no basis for atheists. It's always a basis for us to believe that there is a God or gods. It can be, you can believe that there's more than one God, but there's a basis for that. And you can believe that there's only one, but still, there's a basis for you to say that there's only one God. You can say that. And that's the reason why. But there's no basis for anybody to say that we don't believe that there's a higher power or a supreme being. There's no basis for that. There's no basis for atheism. But there's a basis for us to believe that there are supreme beings or higher powers or a supreme being or higher power. There's a basis for that because, like the scientists have already said, that all human beings was, at that time, polytheists. And so from polytheists, you can say that there was one. That there was and is one. You can say that. There's a basis for that. That's the reason why. Because there's a belief there. So you can say from polytheism, you can say monotheism. But you can't say that. You can't say there's no God. You can't say that. Because in prehistoric time, they had a belief. All human beings had a belief. So there's no basis for atheists. There's no basis. That's the reason why I was thinking about it. It came into my mind after we talked about it. I was like, wait a minute. Right. And then when it comes to polytheism, that's the reason why I was saying, like, fake polytheists. False polytheism. But I intentionally did that. Because there's no basis for that. When you know that the European, you see how we talking about prehistoric books on prehistoric religion. What is it that you trying to say? Talking about some pagan, modern pagan, neo-pagan, contemporary pagan. You fake. That's all it is. And it's false what you're saying. That's the reason why. So I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. Because, you already know. I got to give me something to eat. Okay. You already know, man. I got to give me something to eat, man. I don't eat before I start my video. Last time I ain't ate since last night. Okay. I haven't ate. Last time I ate was last night. At like 1 o'clock this morning. 1 o'clock Saturday, early Sunday morning. I ate. Now I haven't eaten since. So you know I'm home. You know I'm finna go ahead and give me something to eat. You take care. My name is Eric D. Johnson. Also on BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, in the county of state of Tennessee. Thank all my family, my support for your continued courage support. And continue to pray about these natural disasters. And to continue to pray, pray. And until next time, you take care of yourself. And I wish each and every one of you very best.